reality is that council said, well, you look at this 212 million, then you get down to the problem of 2010, 2011, and the budget, hole that's opened up in the 2010, 2011 budget is $485 million. Again, it's based on receipts over the full year, and we can solve of this. This is assuming 2,400 early retirements. The work that's being done on this $485 million budget is, number one, if we can do the 1,000 layoffs/transfers, that's about $100 million of structural fix, right, inside of next year's budget and the budget after that and the budget after that. We have a negotiation has opened up about the possibility of 400 more E-RIPs. Right? In order for that to happen, the coalition has to come up with $6 million a year in structural money back into the general fund. They're looking right now at possibly negotiating something around health care benefits for all of the city employees to get the $6 million a year in savings that would fund 400 more E-RIPs. That is a conversation that is ongoing, right? But if you were to do that, you're talking about probably another somewhere around $60 million in structural fix. Right? Then you have, at that point, you're literally looking at a cliff, right, of $325 million to make up next year. That $325 million is really what led council to put out a new number. In order to solve this number next year, on top of the 2,400 early retirements, the 1,000 layoff transfers, the 400 additional early retirements, you got to do 3,000 layoffs of additional city employees. Over 80% of our city budget are salaries and benefits. So let me just show you, see full transparency on this. And again, I'm trying to do my numbers. I'm going to steal the numbers I used yesterday. 50,000 city employees. If you include all the proprietaries at DWP and the port and the airport and CRA and the housing authority, et cetera, that are really proprietary departments. How many? There's 36 city employees, not including the proprietaries. You have 13,000 sworn. The mayor's office feels uncomfortable going after those 13,000 sworn for two reasons. One is from an argument about core services. The other is that we triple people's trash fees, and we have 820 new officers, 1,000 that it will fund eventually if we keep, consistent with it. And if we walk away from those trash fees and use those trash fees for something other than what we said we would use it for, which was increasing our police force, we would feel that we had been dishonest and bait and switched the public on our trash fees. So we are doing our best. We are doing our best to protect the sworn. So there's 9,963. If you ever see the police force going down under 9,963 sworn, we are starting to abandon our commitment to you about our trash fee. Right? That's the number. And there's about another 2,700, in firefighters in the city of LA. So what that means is, if you take this 13,000 away from your 36,000, you get a number of 23,000, right? That are people that you're pulling from. Now, you have to take that 23,000 and remove from it all the people that are special funded, that are on with federal grants, like all of CDD, which is 300 people, right? Or take out people that are paid for out of fees, so people that are going out and doing parking meters. People that are, the building inspectors are paid for primarily by fees. You take out that group of people, you're talking about minus another 10,000. So you're down to 13,000 people that are general fund and vulnerable from an economic argument. And so that 13,000 is where we have to pull these 3,000 and lay off or transfer this 1,000. So it's 4,000 of our 13,000 folks that are on the general fund that are not subsidizing their own resource. So who is that? That's where the crisis about services in the city of LA is focused, because that's our libraries, that's our parks, right? That's our, some of our tree trimming. That's a number of things that are the real bread and butter. It's not sanitation, that's separately paid for, but it's the bread and butter of what people expect from a city to deliver. And so that sets up this conversation, which is a difficult conversation to have with our labor partners. But right now, labor in LA is probably smarter, more profound than labor anywhere else in the country, because they say, hey, we survive when our interest matches the public interest. Here's going to be a challenge for labor to keep their interests matched with the public interest, which means that in this situation, they're going to be forced with, if they don't take cuts in their base salary, we're going to have a massive cut in services in Los Angeles. And that's the nature of a mutual gains conversation between labor and the city about cuts in base salary. If you had a base salary cut of 5% of all of city employees and openness to furloughs on top of it, we wouldn't have to do these 3,000 furloughs, but that's the nature of the conversation. It's a difficult conversation, and it's especially difficult because you could have one bargaining unit say, yes, that does make sense, and other bargaining units say, go to hell, right? And it's very hard for some bargaining units to take concessions when others don't. How do you keep a table together? That's the conversation that you're not going to see transparently happening. That is the conversation, that's the real conversation about how do we avoid service cuts, right, in the next period of time. So let's just talk, right, 3,000 plus 1,000 out of 13,000, right? How do we address this budget? And this $325 million shortfall next year is directly tied to what percentage of those 3,000 folks get laid off. That is the City of Los Angeles budget, internal budget information as of today, right? Do we? So what happens?
Let's move into
Keep
this.
going.